So, like I said in my Batman and Robin review, there are many ideas to make other Batman movies right after Batman and Robin, but thanks to that being an absolute piece of shit, that never actually came to be. There was even going to be a Batman and Robin sequel called Batman Triumphant. That was going to have Man-Bat, the Scarecrow, and Harley Quinn, which would have meant that the Joker would have been in it. But that never even got made to be. So, after many ideas of Batman had been passed on, what we got was Batman Begins, directed by Christopher Nolan. Also starring Christian Bale, Katie Holmes, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Liam Neeson, and Cillian Murphy, and Gary Oldman, and a whole slew of other people that I have no idea who are in this movie, and I forgot. So, there are many things about this movie that are really good, which is kind of ironic because a lot of people actually seem to forget this. It's also ironic that this movie was actually really big when it came out. Not only was that it was the first really good Batman movie since Batman 1989, but that was the first Batman movie that we've seen in almost a decade, so it was a really big deal. But ironically, nowadays, it's not really talked about as much, and when Batman movies are talked about, it's usually The Dark Knight that gets a little spotlight. But there are many things about this movie, even today, that are still really good. Like, for example, what about the villains? Now, yes, the villains in this movie aren't exactly the biggest name Batman villains, like the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, or Catwoman, and so forth. But they are But the thing I like about these villains most is that they're villains that were never used before. Why? Well, because they're actually essential to the plot. That's the thing I never liked about the old Batman movies. They had villains in there, not because they were essential to the plot or that they were relevant to the plot, but because they were in there, and if you have a big name Batman villain in a new Batman movie, people are bound to go see that movie no matter what. Why do you think Batman 1989 made so much money? And I'm not saying that the only reason why it made so much money was because Joker was in it. It had many other good things in the movie, but that's probably one of the most biggest things in it. And besides, it was played by Jack Nicholson, and Jack Nicholson was big at the time. So, why do you think that movie made so much big money? But that's the reason why I like this movie so much, is because not only did they use two villains that were never used before, but because they're actually relevant to the movie and to the plot. They aren't just the whole plot, they're actually relevant to the movie itself. The two villains we have are Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it, and we also have the Scarecrow. Liam Neeson plays Ra's al Ghul, and Cillian Murphy plays the Scarecrow. Now, Liam Neeson does an absolutely great job as Ra's al Ghul. He does very good job, but then again, he's Liam Neeson. He always does a really good job, and he plays a good villain. That's something I will say. He's sort of like Hugo Weaving. He just plays a great villain anytime, he's a villain. He's just great. These characters or actors like these are bound to play villains. We also have Cillian Murphy, like I mentioned, playing the Scarecrow. And he also does a great job as the Scarecrow. Anytime I think about, Batman villains or Scarecrow, I immediately think of no other than Cillian Murphy as the Scarecrow. Or I do think of the Batman Arkham Asylum Scarecrow, but those are two completely different Scarecrows. We also have Christian Bale now playing the role as Batman and Bruce Wayne. And he does a great job as Batman and Bruce Wayne. The way I like to think about Christian Bale as Batman is the same way I think about Daniel Craig as James Bond. They bring a whole new charm to the character completely that no other Batman have done before. Here, he does a lot of detective work, especially in The Dark Knight. But the thing I like about Christian Bale's performance as Batman is that he brings a whole new realism to the character, and that's what the whole tone of the movie also brings. We also have Katie Holmes as Rachel Dawes' love interest in this movie, and I didn't hate her that much. I don't see why everyone hates her that much. The thing I can say is that it's sort of odd seeing Katie Holmes in this movie when there's a whole ensemble of all these other Oscar-winning actors, and she's in it. It's kind of weird. But, she doesn't do that bad of a job. She's okay. But I do pick Maggie Gyllenhaal more than Katie Holmes in this movie. We also have Michael Caine as Alfred. And Michael Caine does a great job. He isn't just a guy, running around saying, "Here's your tea, Master Wayne." He's actually essential to the plot. Even during the ending of the movie, he actually helps Bruce Wayne out of Wayne Manor, when he's about to burn to death, and he actually even knocks a henchman out, which is pretty cool, I guess. That's pretty cool seeing. We also have Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. Now, Morgan Freeman he's awesome. He's like the coolest guy. He's like the guy with the coolest voice ever. So, you know, why can't I love him? But he does a great job as character Lucius Fox. I'm glad they put this character in this movie so we can learn how Batman got all these gadgets and stuff. And that's one complaint I hear a lot of fans say about this movie, that Batman should be, you know, in a shroud of mystery like he is in the '89 movie. But I like when characters are given more character development and stuff, you know, because this is a character we're gonna have to follow, and I don't like to pay too much attention on the villains, because they aren't the whole center of the movie. It's the title character that's, you know, should be the focus of the movie, which is something I didn't like about Batman 1989 or Batman Returns. They didn't really pay too much attention on Batman than they did on the villain. So I like that they did pay a lot of attention on the main title character, even in the second movie. Now, after all the praise I've given this movie, there are a few minor problems with this movie. One is the ending. The ending, I thought, was really cliched, especially compared to The Dark Knight, and even if The Dark Knight Rises ending is like The Dark Knight, it'll probably be the black sheep of the whole, trilogy of the endings. I thought it was really cliched. I thought it didn't really add anything new. It was just really cliched. You can tell exactly what's going to happen, and if you've seen the movie, you already know what I mean. Second of all, Scarecrow gets little to no screen time in this movie. Well, not really, but it's ironic because the main villain in this movie, Ra's al Ghul, he's in the movie in the beginning for about like a half hour, then he's in the end for about a half hour, so he only has like an hour screen time. The movie's like 2.5 hours. So you think the other villain to get a lot more screen time, but he doesn't really. He's like very underused. And when he does become Scarecrow towards the end of the movie, Rachel zaps him with a taser and just runs off like a wimp, and he gets caught in the Dark Knight in the first 5 minutes, which is really, why have a character in here if you're just gonna have him, just get caught in the next movie? It doesn't really make much sense. But he is still relevant to the plot, and I like that he wasn't in the movie just to team up with the villain and say that, they both want to kill Batman. They actually do have other motives than just to go off and kill Batman, which I really do like. And the third complaint I have are the action scenes, my main complaint. These have to be the possible worst action scene I've ever seen in a movie, period. Every action scene is literally, like, trying to, the best way I can explain it is, they're literally just the most disoriented, most shaky, most uncomfortable action scenes possible. I think I've seen better camera work out of all three of the Paranormal Activity movies and Cloverfield combined. Yes, I dare say that. Because the action scenes in this movie are shot in this really close-up, shaky cam type mode, feel, and you can't really understand what's going on. It's just very disoriented and just weird. Now, there is an excuse for that, and that is that Christian Bale said he could barely even move in the bat suit, and whenever he put on the cowl, he got constant headaches. But don't you think that should be a safety precaution, that you should fix the suit so your actor, can move in it, or have, like, a stunt double in it? And even then, when he's out of the suit, the action scenes are still terrible looking. But they got better in The Dark Knight, they probably will be a lot more better in The Dark Knight Rises. But overall, the action scenes were terrible in this movie. Now, even with my minor complaints that are just come off as nitpicking, this movie still is a very solid movie. It definitely is very good, and I think it's very underrated as a Batman movie. So that's why I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 Batarangs. So, yeah, that's my review on it. So, tune in next time I review The Dark Knight. So, that's going to be a behemoth of review, probably. So, yeah, tune in next time. Same movies time, same rules channel. God, it's been a while since I said that. Stay tuned. See ya.